Hello everybody and welcome to this channel. Today I want to share with you what I think was the most important message regarding mental health in Joker the movie. Don't worry because there are no spoilers ahead. I will just center around what the film is about, what I think the film is about, and also, as I said, the most important message it has in regards to mental health and mental illness. First of all, I want to say that the film doesn't center as much in mental health and mental illness as I thought it would. Instead, it shows a person who suffers mental illness in a world that is hostile and that clearly doesn't understand mental health or mental illness. And that's eerily similar to our world. I don't think this film should be interpreted as a film of somebody being pushed to the edge, because that's not quite what is happening. Above everything else, we must remember that one thing is to suffer violence and a very different one to exert it. And I think that that's what the director wanted to convey to the audience, that the core message of this film was violence instead. But that would be a topic for a completely different video. Instead, I want to talk about mental illness and what it means, what this film can teach us about mental health and mental illness. Arthur is shown in a world where there is a lot of apathy towards mental illness and in general towards anybody else. And while I say that it is similar to our world, it doesn't mean it's the same thing. We must always remember that there are good things and bad things, and there's good people and bad people. But one thing is for sure, we know very, very little about mental health and mental illness. We don't understand it, we don't know what to do about it, and we just confine mental illness to a very, very, very small area in our lives, both as a society and as an individual, and I think that is very, very wrong. And this leads to what I think is the most important and core message about mental health and mental illness in the film. Arthur, just as many others, don't have very easy access to the tools that can help them achieve higher levels of mental health. And when he loses this, when he doesn't have the means to stay sane anymore, say quote unquote, well, things just go very, very badly. Now, once again, this is not a film about somebody being pushed to the edge, because one thing is to suffer violence and a very different one to exert it. But what is important is this: we cannot just keep confining mental health to a small room where sometimes therapy is conducted, and that therapy can sometimes and sometimes not lead to good results. I think we have relegated mental health and mental illness to a very distant place, and I don't think this is positive at all. In our world, we are conditioned to think that the only possible thing we can do regarding mental illness is to ask for help. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with asking for help. What I'm saying is we cannot keep that conditioning. We cannot keep believing that we have no power at all over our mental health. We cannot keep believing that if we are facing mental illness, if we're facing anxiety or depression, PTSD, and so on, we just have to ask for help. That will leave us completely vulnerable and open, completely incapable of dealing with mental illness. We are being taught dependence. We are being taught to be dependent on somebody else, either a therapy or a pill or something, so that we can achieve mental health. And I do not think that is right. Because what happens when those things are simply out of reach, for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. The bottom line will still be that mental health is not within the reach of everybody. And I think we must start changing that. Things would be very, very different if only Arthur have had the tools at his reach. And if he, instead of being taught to look for help and to depend on somebody else, was given the tools to deal with his mental illness. In fact, that is the very reason why I created this channel, so that I can teach you how to deal with your anxiety, how to deal with your depression, and not only deal with them, uproot them. Many people think that this is simply not possible and that you can never really get over them, but I am here to tell you that that is not true. That is part of the same conditioning we have been subjected to. The one that tells you that you need only to seek help, that you can do nothing about it, and that it is impossible to overcome these mental illnesses. In fact, yes, we need to ask for help and we need to look for help, but not in the sense that we just delegate our mental health and we just seek somebody to help us and expect that to be the whole story. We need to do something about our own mental health and mental illness. If you're dealing with mental illness, you have to know that you can do something about it. You can do a lot about it. You've just been taught the other way around. But it's time to break this conditioning. I created this channel so that you can learn the techniques that will get you over mental illness. And in fact, you are the only person capable of completely eradicating mental health from your brain. As I have been saying for years, it doesn't matter if you go to the most expensive therapist, or if you try the most recent experimental therapy, or if you take X amount of pills, or if you go to a guru or a saint or anything. If you don't walk the path towards mental health, nothing will really have an effect, because it is you. You must learn how to eradicate mental illness from your mind. Is this a simple task? No, it's never been a simple task. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you learn to handle your own mental illness. What matters is that you know how to achieve higher levels of mental health. That's what really matters. And I think that's the most important message that we can get from the Joker, the movie, regarding mental health and mental illness. We cannot keep being so disconnected from our own mental health. We have to learn the tools, take responsibility, and know that we can do something. The fact that it is a little bit complicated doesn't mean it's impossible. Don't listen to the same old narrative that tells you that you can do nothing or that it is extremely difficult. You may need somebody else to teach you the techniques, to teach you the lessons. But after that, you're good. You will be good. You will make permanent progress. So if you want to learn more about these techniques and the lessons that will help you attain mental health, subscribe to this channel. I will keep uploading videos about ways in which you can deal with depression and anxiety. And I want to start with those two because I think we have an epidemic that has become a pandemic of anxiety and depression. And the reason for that, I will leave it for another video. I will just tell you that the main reason why we are having this epidemic is because we haven't been taught how to handle fear and suffering in life. Now, I know that that sounds very general, but believe me, it will make a lot of sense, and it will help you with your anxiety and your depression. Subscribe to this channel if you want to learn more about these lessons and techniques that will help you attain mental health and defeat your mental illness. And let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this? Do you think this was the core message of Joker, the movie? I do think it is very important. Nobody else can provide you with mental health. You have to build it. Of course, I can teach you the techniques and the lessons and the things that will help you attain mental health. But that is one thing. I will teach you and I will help you with that. But after that, you will be good on your own. You won't have to depend on anybody else. And before we go, I want to ask you to go to my website. If you have been dealing with anxiety, I have an excellent resource for you so that you can start fighting anxiety and getting definite results. Go to www.georgealonso.com and you will find free resources that will help you fight your mental illness, starting with anxiety and depression. And we start with those two because once you learn how to handle your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your mental illness, you can take on other challenges like other mental illnesses. But we have to start somewhere. Divide and conquer. Okay, thanks a lot for watching. Please share this video. A lot of people need to hear this, and a lot of people need to make this paradigm shift in which we go from dependent to independent, in which we go from needing somebody to provide us with mental health, which I already said is not really possible, to being aware that we need to do something about it, that we need to build our own mental health. Thanks again for watching. Please click the link in the description, subscribe, like, and I will see you in the next video.